quite zoomed in there. Hello ladies and gents and everything between outside of it. I'm Sophia and today we're going to be doing a little April TBR. March was not what I expected. My next video is going to be what I read in March because then this will make a lot more sense. In March, I did not read as much as I wanted to. I really want to take April to my advantage because I only really have one busy week and the rest is quite chill. I have multiple weeks of vacation. The first book I want to read in April that I've already kind of not really started, but I put my bookmark in there, so I know that I'm about to start it today is April 1st. I want to read Dark Places by the same author as Gone Girl. I am so extremely excited to read this. Libby Day was just 7 years old when her evidence put her 15-year-old brother behind bars. And then she's contacted by this group that's convinced of her brother's innocence, and then she starts, doubting herself, and then 24 years later, she's like, I need to figure out what is going on and who did it and who's innocent. And this seems like such an interesting story, and I loved Gone Girl, so I have a really good feeling about this. Then the next book I want to read is Say You'll Remember Me by Katie McGarry. And on the front page it says, this story broke my heart and stitched it back together before I finished the last page. And it also says they stood together against the world. This book is about Drix, and he's convicted of a crime that he did not commit. And Elle is the governor's daughter, and they fall in love. She's a life of privilege, and he thought his life was over. And then, they fall in love, and then they obviously can't be together, probably. That's what I'm guessing. It's probably gonna be like, oh, we can't be together, but then they end up being together, but something happens until the last page, and then everything's good. Kind of sounds like Ugly Love. I feel like this is gonna tear my heart out. I was really intrigued to read this, because it has a bit of that crime aspect and a bit of that romance, which I really, really like. And most likely afterwards, I will be reading Verity by Colleen Hoover. This book has been on my TBR for so long. I bought it in February, and I am just been on my toes to read it, but I just never really got to it. As I said, March was just not a great month in reading for me. I just didn't get to the books that I wanted. I wasn't able to film all the videos that I wanted. I was just not in a great place in March. But Verity is about Lone Ashley, and she's a struggling writer. And Jeremy Crawford, husband of the best-selling author Verity Crawford, hires Lowen to finish the books that Verity is writing, because she's a very successful series and his injured wife is unable to finish it. She has to obviously research a bit about Verity and look through her notes and what she's done so far in the series, and then she starts to find out some things that she probably should know. Apparently this is one of those thriller books that makes you feel like somebody's watching you. This is really promising, and if this is not good, I will be disappointed. Next book I have for April is The Chemistry of Death by Simon Beckett. This is the first part to a series, and it is a mystery. I don't know, but I've been trying just to get into a few more series just because that makes it really easy for you to read, and you always have a backup because you know the characters. It's easy to get into, I don't know if that makes sense, but you just always have something familiar, which I find a great comfort in. 3 years ago, forensic expert David Hunter abandoned his old life after tragedy nearly destroyed him. 3 years later, the body of Sally Palmer is found, and the police, needs this forensic scientist really, really badly because the body is so mutilated that they can't. They need him, and he's like, no, I'm not doing this. Fuck you. But then another body is found, with a really similar MO. So I feel like this could be a really good read or really shitty. But it says the best thriller I've read all year. So the next two books are similar. They're not similar, but they're kind of the same reason why I want to read them, and that is The Outsider and The Spanish Love Deception. So I want to read both of these because they're quite thick. They're between 450 and 500 pages, and I used to prefer reading thicker books, and then I tried reading shorter books, which I was not used to, and then I fell in love with doing that because of the validation and serotonin you get from finishing a book, and now I'm maybe building a fear of big books. Stephen King is known for having really thick books. This is not a thick book for Stephen King, it is fucking 1,000 pages with miniature writing. I saw that Jack Edwards read it, and he was not a big fan of it because in the middle of the book it turns to paranormal instead of more like crime and mystery and investigating. But crime and paranormal are my two favorite things, and I bet that Stephen King can do that well. So basically it is about a man who has, he has done a terrifying crime, and all the evidence, it's rock hard evidence points towards him. But he has like a super strong alibi, like he's been on camera, he was there. How can he's been both at the scene of the crime and out of town? So it doesn't really make sense. I have a feeling that I know where this is gonna go, but I just really want to know how Stephen King is gonna execute this idea, because I think this is a great story from what I can expect. And then the other thick book is The Spanish Love Deception. I was in a phase where I was trying new genres, and when I was in England I bought a bunch of romance books, sad books. Most of these books are romance or sad, I'm not gonna lie to you. And then I read so much romance that I literally was craving for a crime. That sounds so bad. And I was craving for something really, really good, and it just didn't. And then I read this crime book and it didn't hit, and then I was really upset. And then I read The Silent Patient, and just watch my next video. I'm gonna explain to you why I loved it and why you should read it. That really helped, and I've been reading crime for quite a while, and I do want to get a bit more back into that romance. I want to keep it a bit diverse and not just have little splurts everywhere. This has been really, really hyped up, and according to a few people it's been overhyped, and other people love this book. So I really want to have my own opinion on it and how I, feel about it. I hope that I like it, because this is a thick book, and otherwise I will be mad. But it is basically about this girl that really needs a date for her sister's wedding, because she's been telling her entire family that she has this American boyfriend, which she obviously doesn't. And apparently the book on the first page already starts with them meeting and he agreeing to go to her sister's wedding with her. So there's no world building, no character development, just straight to the point, and that could be really good, but it could also ruin a book. I just have to get through this. I just have to get this off my shelf, because otherwise I feel like I'm never going to read it. Then the next book that I really want to read, I do not have it with me here. I'm planning to buy it in England when I am there, and that is Truly Devious. Truly Devious is, I don't really know what it's about. I know it has something to do with like a story that happened a couple of years ago, and then in like school or like a college. But basically it is it's the first book of a trilogy or a 4-part series, I'm not sure exactly. But I really, really want to read it, and it's been on my TBR for a while, and I normally wouldn't buy books online, but if I really want to read a certain book, I will buy it online. Otherwise I'll just wait until I get to England and then buy 19 books, do a book haul, and then read those until I'm back again. But this book, I might order. I'm literally gonna be in England in 2 weeks. I think I can hold that out, but who knows. This is the next book I want to read. I'm not really planning on reading this fully. I feel more like this is interesting to read a chapter or like a persona of. This is a book about, well, it's called Talking with Serial Killers, but it has a really, this is kind of part of a series, because there's also Talking with Psychopaths, and these are all stories of like they actually talk to, for example, the Yorkshire Ripper's wife and the BTK killer, aka Dennis Rader's daughter, because her father had been arrested when I think she was 14 years old. I think this could be so interesting, and it's non-fiction, and I do want to read a bit more non-fiction, but I don't want to force myself too much. It does have pictures. I really want to incorporate this into more of like I pick it up and leave it and pick it up a bit later again, just so I can read something that takes me a bit more brain strength. But I think those were all the books that I have on my planning to read. I am extremely excited to see how many books I will be able to read. I kind of want to aim for 10. I know that is a lot. I just really want to. And with all the free time I have, if I really motivate myself to, I think I would be able to. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment a cat emoji if you're still watching, and I will see you. Because I want to know just what she's